So I think I've got a new favorite sci-fi series. Hey everyone, welcome back to Andrew's Wizard of Reads, and as always guys, I'm Andrew. Today I have got another book review for you, but before we get into that book review, make sure you're liking and subscribing, hitting that bell notification so you can get regular updates for when I put out new content. And guys, I was sent this one as a review copy, and I am so thankful to the author for sending this to me, and it is In the Orbit of Sirens by T.A. Bruno. This is currently an SPSFC finalist. I think I've gotten that acronym correct. If I haven't, please correct me in the comments down below. But guys, this one is really, really good. I read this one in about 5 days, and I don't think that there was anything in here that I really didn't like. It's very accessible prose, great characters, and then something that this book does really, really well is it takes those kind of hard sci-fi themes that you would expect more from your harder sci-fi, the kind of drier stuff. But then it injects it into the space opera, which is kind of more character-based fun, where these characters live within a scientific society, and it just blends together really well, and it just works. So on the back here, it says, the last remnants of the human race are forced to adapt to a dangerous new world or face extinction. When starship mechanic Denton Castus is caught in the destructive path of a devastating war, he abandons his home and seeks refuge on a distant planet. However, this new safe haven has undiscovered threats of its own. Eliana Vestin, a scout preparing the planet for the refugees, struggles with a deadly pandemic that is killing off colonists. The hunt for a cure unleashes a new threat to humanity, the Sirens, mysterious beings with incredible powers and a deep hatred for invaders. And guys, this is really, really cool. And what I love about this blurb is it is kind of just very generic, but it gives you just enough information. Specifically, it gives you your two main protagonists, Denton Castus and Eliana Vestin. And we're going to kind of start here with Denton, because Denton is awesome. Essentially, when we meet Denton, we are kind of in the last days of humanity in the Sol system. Essentially, what ended up happening is humanity decided AI was a good idea. And somebody pushed that idea just a little too far and created a super race of AI, invaders. And these AI don't want humans anywhere within the Sol system. And at this point, we've kind of gone out into the stars, and Denton lives on Ganymede, one of the moons of Jupiter, I think. And I could have that completely wrong. But so they are just sweeping through the entire Sol system, and basically humanity has crafted these arc ships, and they are going off to seed another galaxy, because we are no longer welcome in our own. And that's kind of where the story starts, is basically Denton and the Castus family, who are all mechanics, jumping on through the space battle, getting on this arc ship, and going off to this other world, which is, I believe, Chimeria. I'm probably said that incorrectly. But this entire trilogy is the Chimeria trilogy. I'm going to say it Chimeria. I'm sure somebody will correct me in the comments if I have it incorrect. But basically that is where it all takes place. Now, the way that this book is structured is we've kind of, for the first, I think, third, we've got a 300-year sort of time gap, because it takes 300 years for these arc ships to travel to the new planet. And essentially there was a team already sent out, this wasn't the plan. It was just we've already got this thing in motion. We've already gone out into the greater universe to find new worlds, and now we're being pushed out of our own, so we already know about this planet, so we're just gonna kind of flee there and hope for the best. And so we've got, Eliana Vestin, who is a scout. And we follow the scouts quite a bit in this story. Very heavily, is what I was going to say. There's a large focus on scouting and exploring and discovering about this new, very alien world. And essentially, the air is kind of not compatible with human physiology. And so humans kind of develop something called lung lock, where basically if you breathe the air, your lungs lock up. And so they are searching for the components to formulate, to kind of alter the human genome to allow them to breathe this foreign air. And it's so interesting, because we meet a race of like bird people who are very intelligent, who already live on this planet. I forget the name of their race, but they're so cool because they can't tell lies. They're kind of telepathic, and they've got these really cool weapons and stuff like that. And they've got this whole culture where like they build up this staff that kind of tells the story of their entire life. It's very, very interesting. And of course, the world is seeded with just alien plants and alien creatures and all sorts of stuff. So basically, between the time Eliana's story takes about 5 years. They get there 5 years prior to the other Ark ship leaving the Sol system. And they are unprepared to receive all these additional kind of refugees from, survivors from the Earth and from the moons and everything like that. And so they're just kind of trying to figure out how to survive. And then the two stories collide. But then, of course, there is, the awakening of the Sirens that is mentioned on the back of the book. And that leads to another structural change where there's an individual who kind of gets possessed. And he kind of goes off and does this thing where he is separate from the rest of the characters. And from there, we've kind of got a 5-year time gap where whenever we come back to his plot line, it's like, it's just 5 days into exile, 30 days into exile, 600 days into exile, things of that nature. It's fantastic. And one of the things that I love about Denton is he is a kind of a genius mechanic. His whole family is made up of mechanics, but he's got this very gentle heart where he doesn't want to disappoint his family. He wants to be there for his family. He's very much a family man, but also he doesn't really want to be a mechanic. And his other brothers have this issue as well. I really like the dynamic within the Castus family, just because they feel like anybody's family that you could walk into and immediately feel like you understand that dynamic. It's really, really great, because I will say the character work in here is fantastic. Essentially, all the characters are either welcoming or they fit a role, or it's a role that you would know. Like, there's one character in here who's just an absolute butthead, and like, you just like, man, this dude sucks. And, of course, the butthead never wins and stuff like that. And, of course, Eliana and Denton kind of are our romantic entanglement within the story. And I absolutely love the big ideas. Essentially, when I initially decided to pick this up is because Trin from Portable Magic was talking with the author on Twitter. And she was just like, oh yeah, it's got these great Mass Effect vibes. And I was like, Mass Effect, you say? And it's one of my favorite video games of all time. Now, she said Mass Effect Andromeda. I was thinking Mass Effect, the original trilogy. Whatever, they both work. Not the point here. But then I also got some like Outer Worlds vibes, which I don't know if anybody knows what that video game is. So kind of mixed with Mass Effect. And it came to life within my head. The story flows well. The pacing is great. There is some hard-hitting moments. There's lots of heartfelt friendship and just found family and community and surviving as a culture and as a species. All of that is wrapped up with here in the Orbit of Sirens, which is only the first book in this trilogy, which the third book just came out at the time of recording. You probably won't see this for a few weeks. It is what it is. I'm backed up. Don't judge me. But guys, like, honestly, do yourself a favor. This is one of the best space operas out there right now. I am 100% certain of that fact. When Denton meets Eliana and we meet this large cast of characters, which includes Fergus and Pavel, and just, I love Fergus and Pavel. Before I sign off, I need to talk about Fergus and Pavel. Mainly because what T.A. Bruno has done here is he's kind of injected the thing where, like, I believe Fergus is Scottish, and so the way he speaks, like, the way the text is written, is it reads as if your brain translates that to a Scottish accent, and then Pavel is, like, Russian, and so it's awesome. And I feel like I haven't talked about Eliana enough. I know I'm rambling at this point, but whatever. I'm happy, and I'm having a good time. Eliana, basically, because of this individual who gets possessed, her father dies as a result. And so she is very traumatized and dealing with, I'm out in this galaxy and humanity's like struggling to survive and I've lost half of my family unit. And she just feels like she is struggling and she is lost. She doesn't know who to trust. And she's just kind of focused on becoming a scout and exploring this new world. And then she meets Denton, and things start clicking for her. But she still struggles with it. Like, I love when it would be very easy to lean into, oh, I found a love interest and all my problems are solved. No, that's not what happens here. Instead, it's kind of a coming together and a reinforcing and a kind of nurturing of, hey, it's going to be all right. Hey, I'm not going anywhere. Hey, I'm here for you. Denton's just that kind of guy. And so when they come together, they kind of make what is in my mind a whole unit, which is how a relationship really probably should work. You kind of fill in those gaps that the other person has. And it's just awesome. Guys, I am not going to talk too much more about this one other than the fact that I think you should read it. I gave this one 5 stars and absolutely loved the experience. I will be continuing this series, and hopefully I can do reviews for books 2 and 3 as well. That said, guys, let me know in the comments down below if you plan on picking this one up. And as always, until next time, peace out, stay magical, bye. And as always, I want to give a huge thank you to my patrons.